Cubers and Cubies. Welcome back to another video. Sorry, once again, that I keep delaying when it comes to making videos. I really am trying to come up with new ideas and also things to talk about. So I'm going to try something today. Like I said in one of my last videos, or one of the other videos, I mentioned talking about a movie that most people don't like, and it came out in October of last year, of 2024, just to be aware. So about a few months or so ago. The movie I'm referring to is Joker Folie à Deux, or in short terms, Joker 2, which came out in 2024. Now, this movie, I watched it about a few weeks ago, and I have to say, I agree with the majority of the people. The movie in its entirety is, as everyone says, pretty bad. I will say it is not the worst sequel ever made, though. It's close, but it's not. Now, I'm a person who doesn't really like musicals. It takes a lot for me to enjoy, like, it takes a lot for a musical to make me enjoy it and actually like it. And I don't even like musicals. The only musical I liked was Has Been Hotel. So yeah. But watching Joker Folie à Deux is an interesting movie, to say the least. There's not a lot of action in it, but I did force myself to sit down and watch it because I wanted to see if it was as bad as people said it was. But I can start from the beginning of the movie in a summary and give my thoughts and opinions on what I think and how I feel about this movie. Now, this movie was directed and made by Todd Phillips, who directed the first Joker movie that came out in 2019. The first Joker movie was a big hit, and for the sequel, it had the budget of over $200 million, and Todd Phillips was given the right to film it in the direction and the way he wanted to film it, and not a lot of directors get that, so this was a rare opportunity. And I do agree he kind of wasted it, but at the same time, he did, in a way, kind of give his creative mind a run for it. Hopefully that makes sense. So my thoughts for at least the entirety of the movie. Before I begin, I'll say that this is just my opinion, and spoiler warning just for anybody who's watching who has not seen Joker Folie à Deux. Please go watch it, but I'm also not suggesting that you watch it. If you want to watch it and sit through 2 hours and 18 minutes of courtroom drama and Arkham Asylum, be my guest. But don't blame me. I'm going to say this one more time. Spoiler warning for Joker Folie à Deux. Please be aware and please be advised. With that out of the way, let's start with my opinion and thoughts on this movie. So, Joker Folie à Deux. I will be honest, when I saw the trailer for this movie, I was a little bit intrigued by what I saw. And I'll be honest, the only reason I watched this movie is because I realistically forgot about it entirely. What I mean by that is, after I saw the trailer years ago, or maybe 2 or so, I saw this in animation class, and it was intriguing to say the least. It was very colorful and it looked very energetic with a lot of cool themes. Um, but then a few years go by, and then so far, like in this year, I wake up to get ready for school, and then I turn on my TV to watch something to like have noise in the background. I like get dressed and try to wake up. I come across a video that talks about the new Joker movie, and I click on it and I watch it, and then I say to myself, "Huh, I forgot about this movie. I even forgot I completely even watched a trailer on it." So after I watched the first video, from there on, I just kept watching people talk their opinions and give their thoughts on the movie. And I like drama, honestly. I like to see drama, but I don't like when it's on myself, like most people do. But I enjoyed listening to people's opinions, seeing what the movie was about, and seeing what the movie is and how it played out too. Um, but after that, then I told myself, you know what? I'm gonna watch this movie, see if people are right or if I have a change of heart or thoughts on it. So I decided to watch it. And obviously, yeah, from the trailer and from what people said, it was a musical. And yeah, I don't know about musicals really. People said that the musicals were not great in this movie, and to a degree, I can agree with them. Um, but let's start from the beginning. And I know I've said that a few times before, but literally. So the movie begins in Arkham Asylum, and we see Arthur Fleck, aka the Joker, and he just looks like he's in a rush for something, but he's also like calm at the same time in his cell, and then he gets released. And then one of the prison guards says, "You got a joke for us today, Arthur?" And he doesn't say anything. Now, for the first 12 minutes into the movie, and yes, I did look at the timeline as I was watching the movie because I was going to analyze it as I watched it for the first time. I'm one of those people. I'm a nerd. Don't judge me. Um, but yes, I basically watched it as the movie was playing, and I kid you not, I'm not going to be very accurate, but at least I'll give you the minutes, not the seconds, or approximately. It took, if I can still remember, it took 12 minutes, 12 minutes and around 30-ish seconds to, no, for Arthur Fleck to finally say his first lines in the movie. 12 minutes. Like, this is when the movie actually starts. From the time the movie starts to that point. 12 minutes. I find that intriguing and unbelievable. I will say, when we are introduced back to Arthur Fleck and how he does things in Arkham, and the grittiness and desaturated colors and the grimy greens and dark blues and browns and yellows of the whole interior of this place, it just it looks perfect. I will say that the photography and the lighting and the camera work in this movie is just as beautiful and amazing as the first Joker movie. So that's what I like about this sequel. Um, Joaquin Phoenix is also an amazing actor, and he still plays an amazing role in this movie, just like he did in the first movie. So I give props to him again. to watching Phoenix. So yeah. But Arthur Fleck takes his pills, then he goes to this room to get his face shaved, and so we're told this joke by, I hope I'm correct when I say his name, Frankie, which is one of the um prison guards. Um, I don't remember how the joke goes, but it was something about a Catholic dog. And so that really wasn't a funny joke for me, in my opinion, or at least it was a very interesting joke, I guess. Um, Another note is that what I like from what other people have said, and I didn't catch this when I first watched it, when the guy that's shaving his face accidentally cuts his lip, instead of it bleeding upwards, like it would do like a smile, like at the end of the first movie when Arthur's nose was bleeding and he did this. Yet in this one, he cuts his lip on accident and it drips down like if it were a frown. Basically, in a way, kind of symbolizing what this movie's going to be about. Which kind of makes sense. This movie was very dull and not very exciting to watch. Um, but after that, we get the title card. And also, by the way, I'll tell you what Arthur says in his first lines 12 minutes in the movie. The first thing he says is word for word. Are you ready? Can I have a cigarette, please? That is exactly the word for word. I hope I'm right when I say that. That's exactly what he says. That's the first thing he says in the movie, 12 minutes in. And honestly, I found that kind of funny. But at the same time, 12 minutes. Are you serious? For our main um anti-protagonist, right? He's a protagonist, but he's also an antagonist. So anti uh, um um anti-protagonist, I guess. I don't know if that's actually a thing, maybe it is, but if it is, let me know in the comments, but I'm just gonna say that, I guess. He sees people singing in a room, then he sees Harley Quinzel or Lee, and she steps out of the room and does the finger trick. And that got me thinking, how does that make sense? Um, what? She didn't even see that to begin with, nor was this being filmed by Arthur or whatever. Also, now that I'm saying that, I forgot to mention the movie doesn't start out in Arkham. It actually starts with a hand-drawn cartoon. I forgot to mention that, so please forgive me. Let me go and get this out of the way and then I can continue. The cartoon starts out like a Looney Tunes cartoon, and the name of the episode or the short film is called Me and My Shadow. And I actually liked this part of the movie. It is very weird to add a cartoon into a serious, realistic version of the DC universe, but I like the artistic style. I like how cartoony it is, and the music that was being played in it by the shadow of Arthur Fleck, symbolizing his counterpart being Joker, and him with that counterpart as his shadow. I think I think it was pretty well done. It was short, but I liked it. And the music that again the shadow was singing as it took on Arthur's persona and went on stage and sang and then made little jokes here and there. I like the music. Something had to do with love. We need love, love, something, whatever it was. I liked it. It was very calm and nice. The ending of that cartoon left me a little confused because he says knock, knock, and then that's it. There's nothing. I was so confused by that, but it's fine. But yeah, I forgot to mention that at the beginning, but I got it out of the way now. That's one of my favorite parts in the movie, or at least that was something that caught my eye. Um, but after that, he talks to his lawyer, who is gonna help him try and win the case so he doesn't get death row on the day that he has to go to court and talk about the crimes he did from the last movie. Um, Let me think. I think this whole scene from the cartoon all the way up to um the part before Arthur starts to sing the first musical in this movie, I think it plays out very well and is very, very well done because it started out very nice and also very well at the same time. Just it was perfect in a way. And I like that. Now, the first musical, Arthur Sings, I don't know the name of it, but I'm gonna try and come up with a name if I can hopefully get it right. He sings about, I think I finally found someone that I love or need or something like that. Um, well, he's watching the TV about him being in court soon as he smokes a cigarette. And yes, I've heard people say that Joaquin Phoenix sung really badly in this movie. And sorry, I meant sang really bad in this movie. Either one of those words, forgive me. Um, and his voice is not great when it comes to singing, and it's most likely because of all those cigarettes. But that's what was in the movie, so it doesn't really matter. But basically, um, the first musical I hear that he sings is not too bad. I mean, it's short, but it kind of has a beat to it with a kind of rhythm. It's not horrible, but it's also not that great. Um, I'm not going to talk about every musical, by the way. I'm just going to talk about the ones that mainly catch my eye. Then also if I start to jump in between different spots in the movie that make no sense or did not come into the next scene, I only watched this movie once, so give me a break. Besides, I don't plan on watching it again. Um, then, he has an interview with, well, hold on, no, well, I might be wrong. It keeps jumping back and forth from Arkham to court, back to Arkham. It just keeps doing this, so I may get some of this wrong, so please forgive me. Um, he goes, I'm just gonna guess from here, um, he goes to court and he he's like doodling or drawing as a lawyer helps him out, and he's listening to the people that have seen what he's done, like Sophie from the first movie. Um, and then you get another person who interviews him for his disorder and all that. Also, Harvey Dent's in this movie, by the way, and he's also prosecuting. I hope I'm saying this right. Please don't hate me. I don't know if I'm using the right word, so note to self, please. I may be using the wrong word. I don't know. Sorry. He's prosecuting against Arthur, aka the Joker, for his crimes. And his actor is interesting. His face looks a little small, in my opinion. But he looks like a decent fit for Harvey Dent. In my opinion at least. Um, but it feels kind of random to add him out of nowhere, like specifically out of nowhere. And the fact that his I'll get to it soon. Um, so I actually kind of liked every single drama court scene, even if it was just dialogue after dialogue. By the way, this movie is just straight up dialogue for the majority of it. The only action scene is about an hour and 55 minutes into the movie, FYI, if you're wondering. But I'll get there soon, literally soon. So yeah, after that, he goes back to Arkham Asylum and he sits and watches a old-timey show play on the screen as Harley tries to intrigue him, hey, let's get out of here. He says, no, I can't, which is weird for someone who is the Joker and doesn't care about the rules anymore. But okay, whatever. She gets up, has a cigarette, and then burns something and throws it in the corner and let the room get on fire. A way they can get out of the room. And then we go into our next musical, which is okay, but I didn't really mind it too much. But also, I didn't really care. I did like the part where Hurley, um, after the musical was fixing to be over, and as they were trying to climb the fence out of Arkham Asylum, she immediately stops singing and says something about "let me go" to the guards, and I thought that was pretty funny. So I like that. Um, After that, Arthur gets thrown downstairs and he gets dragged into a room for trying to escape. And then, whew, wow, this next scene, wow. So as he's in the room, he has there's another musical I think that plays, and it's him dressed as Joker with Harley in like wedding suits and wedding dress, something like that. And it's on top of a building with a night sky, and it looks nice. It looks beautiful. I did not listen to the music of this part, but I did look at it because it looked stunningly nice. It looked fake, obviously, but awful, but like, not awful. But it also looked beautiful with, again, the camera work, and I liked it. I don't remember what song was playing in the background at all, so I was just looking, I wasn't listening. Then Harley, for some reason, is inside the cell with him, and because she said they let me in. Okay. So she paints his face, and then um, I skipped this scene because I didn't feel comfortable watching it. Um, because yeah, no, I just skipped it. But just let's just say that Arthur and Harley um got down and dirty that night in the cell in a poor way, from what I've heard from others talking about the movie, and also I already knew ahead of time, so that's why I skipped that part. Um, let me think. There's obviously more characters in the movie, but I don't remember all their names. So forgive me, please, for those who are watching or yelling at the screen. I'm sorry. Um, so after that weird scene, apparently, I'm gonna skip a little bit to the part where he's in court again, and as his lawyer, as she talks about all of his trauma that made him do what he did and why he became the way he did and his split personality, it triggers another musical, but also it's in his mind. And I like this one too. It's called There Will Always Be a Joker. And I kind of liked it. It was a little dark with some scenes that the Joker did. And it ended off on a funny note, but also a really dark note. Um, and so then he can't take it anymore. And so he stands up and he says, I want to I want to be my own lawyer. I want to do this myself. And you're fired. And he kisses her. And then after that, we cut back to him in his cell for doing that. Um, I do like, again, if while I'm talking about this movie, there's some scenes I'm going to say randomly that don't go with what I'm saying in order, by the way. So I'm just going to get some of these scenes out of the way. So, fair warning. I do like the scene where when he has someone who wants to meet him, Arthur has a person that wants to say hi. It's Harley. And I like that when she uses her lipstick to paint a smile on the window. Um, and then he smiles, and it actually really does perfectly go on his lips from like a perspective. Now, in reality, we can see that, but obviously, in reality, Harley and his point of view, that wouldn't line up. So it just looks random why she would do that. But I like the idea of what she was trying to do. So I thought that was pretty nice. I'm gonna fast forward to the part where he dresses up like Joker, and apparently that's allowed in the court scene, even though I don't think that would be allowed. But yeah, he's interviewing himself now and trying to defend himself. And so then we get this one scene where he talks to Gary Puddles. And for the first few minutes, Joe gets up and he talks in this weird accent. And it's weird, but in a way it's kind of funny. It's unnecessary, yes, but it's kind of funny at the same time. Um, I Some of the lines he said is that I thought were pretty nice or funny to hear. For me, it was Mr. Puddles. Is that your God-given name? I thought that was nice. And the others were, really, you expect us to believe that your last name is Puddles. I thought that was nice too. Um, while he's talking to Gary, he comes up to his stand right next to the judge, and for some reason he starts to talk like in a whisper, but also like he's almost out of breath. That was kind of weird. And then Gary tells him that he traumatized him, that he went to the police, and that he was worried that he might come back and kill him. And so then we get this little tiny little moment of Arthur realizing, I can't believe I did that, to where at least I traumatized my closest coworker and friend who we're on the same level with. And the fact that Arthur never made fun of Gary at work, it just kind of settles in and is the sentimental part that really gets him. And so he decides that's it for the talk, and he tells the judge no more questions. So he sits down and reflects on what he did in the past accidentally to Gary, but not on accident to Randall. And that's in the first movie, and I'll do a movie review on that later. Um, um, so yeah, after that, at the end of it, he says another line. That's all, folks. Because he doesn't want to use a defense later on in the court, which is dumb for him not to do that. Also, real quick, another thing. Right before he says that, and right before he was done talking with Gary, he insults the officers that were not really being rude to him, but were not really nice at the same time, too. I do like the part before he went to court, when one of the guards asked him, "Hey, can you sign my book?" And as he was signing it, saying, "Put on a happy face," which I thought was a nice reference to the first movie. And right before he finishes, he can overhear the officer whispering to Frankie, I think that's one of the other guards as well, tell him, I hope he fries his butt, you know? And so a as he hears this, he scratches out what he wrote originally and says, I hope you get cancer. And I thought that was dark, but also at the same time kind of funny. Um, so after he says his horrible things about the guards mistreating him, really, he, once the trial is done for that day, he gets sent back to Arkham. And as he's being sent back, the song Dancing in the Moonlight plays. And I like that little touch. It's nice, it's subtle, and it's really the best music part of the whole thing. So I like that. Um, so when he gets back to Arkham, this upcoming scene is really dark and it's not okay. I okay, this is probably gonna sound horrible, but I like how it played out, but I don't like that it happened. There's a difference. Again, I love how it played out, but I do not like that it happened to Arthur and the fact that it did happen in general. So fair warning. So just know that. So right before Arthur um, gets in trouble by the um, Arkham guards, a few lines that he said that really actually made me laugh, or I found extremely funny, was when he was being brought back into Arkham and he sees Frankie with a frown and upset face for what he heard on the TV as he was watching Arthur talk bad things about him and the other guards in court. Arthur, or I guess Joker, right now in this moment, as he gets like inside and he sees Frankie, he says, "Uh-oh, I'm in trouble." And I thought that was really funny. So he gets dragged by the guards, slammed against the wall, and then they drag him to a shower room and they wash off his makeup. And right before they do what they're fixing to do to him, he says a joke and it's pretty dark, but I really found this joke to be really, really funny. Um, but it's a really dark joke. So warning ahead. So I'll go and say it. Kid replies, Mom, why do you stay with your abusive boyfriend? The kid says. Mom replies by saying, I, I don't know, beats me. I thought that was really funny, but also at the same time, that was a horrible and really dark joke. So they wash his makeup off and then they begin to um, assault him off screen. And they throw him back in his cell and he looks like he was just assaulted and beaten up. And then one of his friends who supports him, I don't know his name really, because he really wasn't that big of a character. He says, "What did you do to him? Stand up, Joker, for yourself." Something like that. He was trying to be supportive. So then Frankie strangles him and kills him off screen. And at that same time, Joker says he's dead, meaning I think his that basically killed Joker inside, saying like there's no more Joker. Also, another time early on in the movie that I forgot to mention is Arthur tells Frankie a joke as they're walking to a room, and then he gets a cigarette for it, and I thought that was nice. Arthur pats him on the back, and in doing so, Frankie immediately slaps him up against the head in a hard manner, basically indicating just because I will give you a cigarette and you tell me jokes and we get a laugh out of it does not mean you're my buddy. I understand that, but that really triggered something inside when I saw that scene. I still hate it to this day. I just didn't like that scene. It was horrible. I mean, it played out well, but it was awful. I didn't like that. But back to my point. So the next day in court, he's fixing to say what he has to say. And so he, out of, I will be honest, out of this whole movie, the different types of suits that Arthur wears when he portrays himself as Joker, this last one he wears, I didn't really like. The brownish, yellow-ish, white, black suit he wears as he wears the Joker makeup, I didn't really care for it. Now, the red suit with the black tie, I thought was pretty nice, and it reminded me of the Joker from the first movie, and I like that. And in one of the musicals that I forgot to mention, I think it was called We're Gonna Build a Mountain. I don't know if it was that one, but it's whatever. As he was singing with Harley Quinn. Menzel, I meant, sorry, either one. Um, he wears like this blue suit with an unbuttoned bow tie, and he does some tap dancing. I thought that was pretty fun to watch, and it was very energetic, at least to me. Uh, so basically, after that, he confesses that there is no Joker. It's just Arthur Fleck. And he regrets doing what he did. He wished he could just blow it all up and start over. Harley, who dressed up for him, came to court that day in her makeup, and I thought it looked pretty good. And she leaves hearing this, and so she's disappointed. Then Arthur goes back to his spot in court, and he's being told by the public defenders if he's guilty on the several accounts of what he did, and he gets told guilty, guilty, guilty. So he starts laughing, mainly because of his disorder, but people don't see it that way. And so someone tries to come over and tell him to shut up, you sick person. And then people try to defuse the situation. And then for some reason, the explosion happens. And this is probably going to be the only action scene in the whole movie. So after the explosion happens, he walks out of the building. Also, Harvey Dent was the furthest away from the wall, and Arthur was the closest, but continuity, I guess. So he has a burn on his left face. Sorry, yeah, left side of his face. It's not as bad as Harvey Dent in the Dark Knight movie, but it's supposed to indicate that he's a little bit of Two-Face. It's whatever. I like what they were trying to do with that, but at the same time, it just didn't. He didn't get enough character development, and he looked smugged and also just mean in general. So he leaves the ruins of the courtroom, then these two people, or this one person that's dressed up exactly like how he was in the first movie, grabs him and tells him, come on, we need to get out of here. So he puts him in a car, and another person in the car starts to drive away. And so they drive away, and then they get to a point where there's traffic, so they have to stop. And then Arthur gets out of the car, not wanting to do this anymore. He just wants to get away. He doesn't want to be Joker. So there's probably another good scene in the movie. And he runs away, and the guys in the car see him get out. And they're like, don't do this, bro. Don't do this, man. Don't. Come on, get back in the car. And so as he's running away, the other two that were driving in the car, they chase after him on foot. And as they do, one of them gets hit by a cop car, and the other just stops. And more cop cars arrive as Arthur keeps running down the street. And I like that scene. It was well played out, and it's probably the only time we're ever going to be in Gotham in general. So he goes back to the stairs, the iconic stairs that were used in the first movie, where he sees Harley, which I don't know how Harley knew about the stairs, but whatever. He goes up there, talks to her, and she reveals that she basically didn't love Arthur. She loved the Joker. She liked the fantasy that the Joker was in. And now that Arthur's giving that up, he tries to talk to her, but she sings. And so as she sings, she kind of walks off up the stairs. And that's literally the last time was here, if I'm right. I don't know, maybe. But I think I'm right. Then cop cars show up and they get Arthur. And the next scene, we're almost close to being done with this movie. He's just he's just sitting there watching TV in Arkham Asylum, and then a guard tells him you have a visitor, and we never see this visitor, which is left ambiguous, which I kind of like, but also I'd like to have some more context to who it could have been. Might have been Harley, don't know, but we never find out. There's no deleted scene. There's no nothing about it. So he gets up and follows the guard, but then this inmate that has been watching Arthur with a grin on his face. We never know the name of this person. We don't know who he is. We just know that we've only seen a few scenes with him looking at Arthur with a smug, creepy grin on his face, planning something apparently. And so he tells Arthur a joke before Arthur goes and sees who he's interviewing. He says, "Can I tell you a joke?" Arthur then replies by saying, "Sure, can you make it quick?" And he says something along the lines of, um, he says something similar to what Arthur said to Murray on the live TV show right before he executed him on live TV. You get what you deserve joke. So he basically uses that joke against Arthur, but he kind of changes it a bit. And for out of nowhere, he immediately has a shard of glass and starts gutting and stabbing Arthur in the stomach. And when I first heard about this scene, I was just, wow, they did not actually do that. But then when I watched it, it was a little random, but now that I did watch it, it was interesting, but I still didn't like it. I'll agree. I did not like that they killed off Arthur with some random person that we have no clue of who it is. Also, after he's done gutting him and stabbing him, he just lays against the wall, watching maniacally as Arthur falls to the floor, bleeding out profusely, and lays there staring at the camera, dying as a musical plays of him talking to Harley in his mind about their unborn son or continuing the legacy or something like that. Because earlier on in the movie, when I was talking about Harley painting that lipstick on the window, she also said something about I'm pregnant after they, got down and dirty earlier. So yeah, just some context for y'all. So he dies on the floor slowly as he stares at the camera, and in the background you can barely see it, but the guy's laughing and he carves with that shard of glass into his mouth a smile. And a lot of people, and also me, when I first heard about it, I was like, oh, this is kind of like a nod to Heath Ledger's Joker. No, this is its own universe, its own storyline, and it's just so random. This whole last ending scene was so dumb and stupid. But at the same time, there's one thing that I can agree with. In Arkham Asylum in general, if you were there for a while and somebody knew you pretty well, you're most likely going to get killed by someone. Jail, Arkham Asylum, prison, like they're crazy people. So that was expected and that was kind of understandable. Some people that are huge fans of their idols will go so far as to take up that mantle and become their idols. So the movie ends right there. After that, it just like ends. There's no last scene at the end of the credits. There's no nothing. That's it. That's literally the end of the movie. Um, I'll go ahead and give my thoughts on it. I thought the movie was okay. It's not the best, and it's also not gonna overtop Joker, the first Joker movie. It is nowhere near gonna do that. Um, but some scenes I actually did enjoy and I liked. I loved all the court scenes. I wish Harley got more development in this movie and looked like what she did in that one scene where she dressed up for Arthur in that red button-up shirt with a diamond and black and white undershirt with the black liner on her face and red lipstick. I wish they used that outfit a lot more, but she only uses it that once, and it's sad because that looked like a semi-realistic version of what Harley looked like in that universe, and I liked it. But that's whatever. At least we got to see it once, so it's nice, I guess. Whatever. Um. So, would I ever watch this movie again? Most likely not. Maybe a few more times, but other than that, I'm most likely not gonna get back to this movie. Not at least not as much as the first movie, because the first movie was such a good, in my opinion, a good representation of the Joker. Even when the Joker in the Killing Joke comic book said he prefers his past to be multiple choice, and I like that line he says, but I'm not going to talk about that. I just wanted to give some context. And so every interpretation of the Joker is pretty good, except for Jared Leto. We don't talk about him. But every other Joker before Joaquin Phoenix did outstanding. And I love them so much for how they portrayed the character. And it was in different ways. And I just like it. I really do. I like it. It's nice. Um, if I had to give this movie a grade, I would give it about I would give it from an A plus to an F minus. I would give it around a C average, maybe C plus, but I'm gonna give it a C average for what I've seen on the movie. And if I had to give it a 1 out of 10, I would give this movie um probably like a 4.6, maybe 5.1 ish. I'm gonna keep it at 4.2. I'm gonna give it a 4.2 out of 10. So yeah, this was my opinion and thoughts on Joker Folie à Deux, or Joker 2. Came out in 2024, a few months ago, and I watched this movie a while back, or at least a few weeks ago, and I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Please subscribe, like the video, comment if you have any thoughts about it too, and make sure to ring the notification bell so you're up to date on future videos. And also, just tell me what you want to see next time. I plan to make more movie review videos in the long run, but I thought this would be a good start, hopefully. But yeah, so remember y'all, keep on cubing my cubers and cubies. Peace.